Hey everyone, it's Billy here from DailyPuzzles. Today we've got a quick guide on how to magnetize the GAN RS. The main benefits of magnetizing a puzzle yourself is you can tailor the magnetic strength to your preference, and on top of that you can save a little bit of money by doing it yourself. The tools and items you're going to need to do this are the GAN RS, 50 magnets of your desired strength, super glue, and optional would be gloves so you don't get glue on your hands, and preferably a surface you don't mind spilling the glue on. To get started, we're going to need to disassemble the puzzle. Do this by prying one of the center caps off, then turning the center nut to the off setting, and that will allow you to take it apart. And first off, I would recommend cleaning the pieces so you don't get lubricant over your hands while you're magnetizing it. This is simple enough, you can just use paper towels or a cloth. Now that you've got the puzzle disassembled and cleaned off, you're going to need to take the caps off the pieces. To do this, the easiest way is to get a small flathead screwdriver, and all you have to do is gently push these little colored caps in and the tops will fly off. Same for the other side. Just push them in gently and they will fly off. Make sure you do this lightly because you really don't want to snap these little plastic pieces because then it won't go back together properly. Getting the caps off the corners is going to be more or less the same, but you're going to have to use a little bit more force. So first off, find the plastic tabs, get your flathead screwdriver, push them up. Then sometimes you also have to use your nail, or you can use the screwdriver at the end to pry them off. But a little bit more force, but they can still come off if you're persistent enough. Okay, now that we've got all the caps off all the pieces, what we're going to do is put all the black pieces back on the core. Now that you've put the cube back together, this is what it should look like. It's essentially how the cube is normally set up, but just without the caps. And this is how the cube is going to be when we magnetize it. To start off, I'd really recommend laying down a protective layer like some paper towels. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to take our magnets and we're going to take 2 of them off and put the rest to the side. Now that we've got 2, essentially what we're going to do is split them up. And we're going to put one in an edge and one in a corner that are next to each other. So I'm going to pick these front 2, so I'll put one there and one there. As you can see, once we place the 2 magnets in, they attract to each other through the plastic. And now once we've got them in a position that we like, I prefer them closer to the core, but if you'd like, you can move them up. Now that we've got them in a position that we like, we're going to glue them down. This is the point in the tutorial where I've put on my gloves too, because as you can see, I've already spilled the glue, and once you get it on your fingers, it's really a pain to get off, and it's not good for your skin. And first off guys, before you take glue to the puzzle, make sure you be really careful, because if you spill this on 2 of the connecting layers, you're basically going to make it so the puzzle will never perform well again. So make sure you're really careful, only get the glue on the spot where you want the magnet to attach. So I'm going to put the little nozzle on top of the magnet, and then all you need is a little drop. And there, as you can see, that's all you need, and then the magnet will be glued in place after a few seconds. We're going to do the exact same thing for the edge piece, put a drop of glue on top, and then what we're going to do now is maybe wait 10-15 seconds first. Okay, now that the glue's dried for the first 2 magnets, what we're going to do is instead of repeating this step, we're just going to turn the layer, and now we've got a new corner position to put a new magnet in. The reason we are doing this is because we need to keep the polarity of the magnets consistent the whole way through the puzzle, or it's not going to turn or perform correctly. So I've got another magnet, the previous corner is back there with the magnet, so what we're going to do is just drop a new one in, which will attach to the magnet in the edge, and now we're just going to glue that one in also, and we're going to repeat. Okay, now that we've put a magnet in all 4 corners on the right side, you can see if we keep turning it, there's already a magnet in that position. So all we're going to do is do an algorithm of your preferred choice to rotate that corner. So I'm just going to do this. And you can see the magnet is now on the bottom, and we've got a fresh slot to do it in. And basically you can do this throughout the whole puzzle. Alternatively, you can rotate the puzzle and you can see where the magnet is in the corner that we already put in there. So you're welcome to glue one into the edge there. And basically you just make sure you don't start with 2 at a time. You always go off one that was already glued in, and that way the polarity will always be consistent. Okay, now that we've done every single piece, you should go over and check just to make sure there's enough glue on every single magnet. And on top of that, you want to make sure every corner has 3 magnets. and every edge has 2 magnets. So go around the entire puzzle, check that they all have that amount of magnets in each piece, and on top of that, make sure there's enough glue. If there's not enough, just add another drop on top to touch it up, and then we're gonna give this 20 or 30 minutes to dry before we touch it. Okay, now that we've given the puzzle some time to dry, what we're gonna do is take the caps that we took off before, and we're gonna go around the entire puzzle and push them in one by one, just like how they were before. Make sure you line them up and don't force them, but you should be able to find the sweet spot, and then they should just click back on in like that. So we're gonna go around the whole puzzle and do that, and then I will get back to you. Now that we've reassembled the puzzle, you're done. You've officially magnetized your own puzzle. If you did it correctly, you should feel a magnetic bump. The strength will depend on what sort of magnet strength you chose, but it should be all done and ready to use. If you were doing this on the GAN RS, you should notice a huge bump in stability of the puzzle, and on top of that, it doesn't feel as flimsy and flexible like it did before. It should be a lot more rigid, and the overall performance should be a lot better, and in my opinion, this makes it feel pretty much exactly like the GAN XS. The only other thing you might want to do is add a few drops of lube, because we did clean the puzzle out before we magnetized it. Other than that though, it's ready to go and you're done. So thanks so much for watching the video, guys. We hope you enjoyed it and found it useful. Be sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe, and we'll see you in our next video.